Hey Bookies, today we are going to be going over Sims 4 book recs for the Langraab family. So let's get started. This family has a huge history with The Sims. They've been in, I think, almost every iteration, or at least in 2 and 3. But because Sims 4 is weird and it exists in a place outside of time and space for some unknown reason, I'm only going to really talk about the only Langraab family in The Sims 4, which is Nancy, Joffrey, and then what's their Malcolm. I always forget that kid's name. We're going to start with Nancy. And by the way, this family is incredibly wealthy. They have one of the worst mansions I've ever seen in The Sims. But it's a mansion nonetheless. They have oodles of money. It's fun to steal from them. Anyways, we're going to start with Nancy. Nancy and Joffrey have a very weird relationship. She is like a master spy. And like in the crime... she's like a master crime lord and everything. Runs her own empire, girl bosses, all that stuff. Her husband is a spy. So they're kind of enemies to lovers-esque. So I wanted to focus on the enemies to lovers aspect first of all. So I got these Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, which is probably one of the more ultimate enemies to lovers. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling. But set in the 1920s in Shanghai, and there's monsters. It's a lot, but it's really good. I recommend it. Now for her personality. She is ambitious, a snob, materialistic, and business savvy. She's also fabulously wealthy. That's her aspiration, but she's already got it, pretty much. So she seems to be like the person that would read kind of like romance-heavy fantasies or contemporary, something like that. So I picked up The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. I don't really know a lot about this one. I just know it's a romance fantasy, very, very romance-heavy. It's on my to-read list, but it looks super good, and it looks like something that would be in like Nancy's library because of how like extra it is. Like, this book is extra. I think she would also enjoy People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is a romance contemporary book. But basically, these two people, they always vacation together, but then something happens that kind of wrecks their friendship, and they're trying to get it back together. Anyways, I've heard it's really good. Again, this one's on my TBR, so I haven't read it yet. But it seems pretty good. Can't wait to read it. And the last one that I think that Nancy would really like, we're going to go with A History of All Places by Shea Ernshaw. This is kind of a mystery-like book. Basically, the main character, is it the main character? One of the characters. I don't know how many characters are in here. I've yet to read this one as well. But he has a knack for finding missing people. There's this area in this kind of secluded area where people just go missing and are never found again. Mystery novel. She would be into that because she would read this and be like, well, this is how I can get rid of the dead bodies I'm accumulating at my job. Next, we're going to talk about Joffrey. He is a lead detective, like I said before. He is domestic, family-oriented, outgoing, and good, and he just wants a successful lineage. But the poor man ain't getting it, and I will explain more later. But I thought that he would be kind of like into historical fiction kind of books. So I think that he would be into the Stalking Jack the Ripper series by Kerri Maniscalco. Here's Capturing the Devil because this is basically what he does as a job. He captures devils, but really he's trying to capture his wife. Sweet. This is the 4th book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I'm not going to go into what it's about to avoid spoilers. But Stalking Jack the Ripper is about this girl named, is it Audrey or Aubrey? Audrey, yes. Audrey. She likes dead people. I don't know. But basically, she likes to solve mysteries, and she decides that she's going to figure out who Jack the Ripper is. Spoiler alert, they're the mystery might be close at home than what she realizes. Anyways, super good series. I love it. I think he would too. I also think that he would be into like kind of horror-esque books. So I think he would be into The Library of the Dead, which is about this girl who is a ghost stalker? No, ghost talker. Ghost talker. There's a missing T. But yeah, it sounds really good. And I think he'd be more into like this kind of gothic style right here. I also think because Joffrey is kind of a lead detective and he works with like the spy stuff and everything, I think he'd be really interested in science and stuff like that. So you might be into This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada. Basically, this one is really cool. It's there is this virus that attacks you. There's DNA involved. There's genetics involved. It's very dystopian. Very, very cool. Very sciencey book. I'm not really going to get into all of it because my camera battery is dying. So we're just going to leave it at that. But it's a really good book. I highly recommend it. And then the last book that I think he'd be into is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. In this one, our main character is kind of an aspiring hero. His world was absolutely rocked over a decade ago when an astrological event caused some people to gain superpowers, which is cool, but then they all turned out to be villains, which is bad. So he's actively trying to find a way to stop these villains to save his town. He's very much the comedic relief, very punsy, he makes bad puns. That's his thing. It's a really good series. It has a really good couple of twists in it. I recommend it. Next, we're going to talk about Malcolm Langraab, who is their son. He is a high school student. He is a snob. He's evil. He's dastardly. And he wants to become public enemy number 1. Great. Great. So, I think that he would kind of be into books with male main characters. I think he would really be into The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. In this one, our main character can see ghosts, and he has a great responsibility that he's not really ready for, especially when one of the ghosts that seeks him out is this one named Sawyer, I believe his name is. Yeah, Sawyer. Sawyer was the guy that attempted a mass school shooting. So it goes a lot into about that. Sawyer is very, very frightening. This book is very scary, very good for a Halloween season, but go into it with caution because it does talk a lot about triggering events. I also think that he would be into Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. In this one, our main character is a Brujo. They are trans, and their family's not really accepting of them. So when they try to do the ritual to become a true Brujo on his own, they accidentally summon something, and he ends up working with a ghost of someone that just recently died to try to fix everything that is happening. It's a very, very good adventure, and it has like a lot of like spooky vibes and everything, which I think would be perfect for what Malcolm would really like. I also think for dark and atmospheric vibes, he would really like The Project by Courtney Summers. This is about 2 girls that are it's kind of told out of sequence and everything, but basically they're being stalked by this cult leader and everything. There's a whole history with it. It's very twisty-windy. I recommend that you read it because I'm not going to tell you the rest about it, but it's so good. It is so, so good. And the last thing that I think that Malcolm would be into would be books that are based on video games. So he might be into the Five Nights at Freddy's series. These are like little side stories involving other animatronics or the same animatronics from the video games, and all sorts of new adventures. This one specifically is about a time-traveling ball pit. It's good, it's weird, but they're good, and I think you'd like them. And you might think that we are done, but we are not, because there is one more land grab who has been cut off from the family. They basically exiled him. His name is Johnny Zest, and poor guy. All he wanted to do was be a stand-up comedian. He gets kicked out of his house. But he is an open mic seeker. He is gregarious, ambitious, a goofball, outgoing, and all he wants to do is be a joke star. So I think Johnny would have developed a lot of his father's taste in books. I think he might really like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. This is part historical fiction, part like fantasy. Basically, it's a reimagined biography of Abraham Lincoln, but if he hunted vampires. It's so good. It's really interesting. And I love how Seth Grahame-Smith incorporates photographs, and sometimes doctored photographs, and makes the book really come to life. I also think that he might really like superhero novels, like what his father would like, so I think he would go into X-Heroes by Peter Clines. I think he would really like that one. It has zombies, it has superheroes, it has a little bit of everything. It's dystopian. It's super good from what my husband tells me. I'm trying to go into it blind, so I'm not reading the back of it, but it sounds so good, and I can't wait to read it. I also think that he might really sympathize with this graphic novel, which is called Slip by Marika, McCoola and Aatmaja Pandya. In this one, it details a girl who is going to this art summer camp, but her friend just tried to commit suicide. So she's dealing with a lot about anger about that and everything. So it goes into a lot about how family and friends are affected by someone's attempt at unaliving themselves. I think it did a really, really good job, especially with the use of color and everything like that. It's super good, super well done graphic novel. Personally, when I play Johnny, he has so much hate for his mother, and his dad too, but a lot for his mother. I think he would go into this book and find it a very cathartic read. It is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeannette McCurdy. Basically, it details Jeannette McCurdy's life. It's a memoir about her life and how her mother abused her. Johnny might have similar feelings. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, that is all the books I'm recommending for the Langraab household and Johnny Zest. Yeah, if you have any other book suggestions, or if you think I got something wrong, leave a comment down below. But yeah, that is it. So thank y'all for watching. I'll see you again. Bye.